I think we've been on record, or at least I know that I have, that I think Brad Holmes probably going to be a little bit aggressive in this draft. I believe his version of going all in is going out there and obtaining some of these guys on the upper echelon of this first round, which means I see him making a move. I see him making a move. I believe and hope he will make a move up in this year's NFL draft to grab a guy that can immediately impact this defense specifically. But is there any specific players, Spinny, that you thought about in that scenario that you would want?
If this is happening, if they're moving up to draft someone, it's gonna be an edge rusher. That's what it is. That's what I'm sold on. If Brad Holmes is moving up in the first round to get a player to bring to this team, it's gonna be one of those edge rushers. Whether it be Verse, whether it be Latu, whoever it is, that's what it's gonna be, because that's the position where you need the most instant impact. I think that's the only position on this team where you need a guy that's going to be an instant impact from this draft. So if you are going to give up assets to keep adding depth, to move up and grab someone to hopefully be that guy, it's going to be one of the top edge rushers. And out of them all, honestly, I think Jared Verse would be the best.
Best, like that's like you best in class,
Best,
or like that's who you think is
fit.
available?
Best available. I think he's going to fall down a little bit. I think Latu is going to go higher than most people expect. I think he's going to go closer to 10 than he is 20.
Yeah.
And so I think Verse is going to fall a little bit. So if you move up to 17, something like that, late teens to get a Jared Verse, I think it would be best bang for your buck. And I think he's going to be one of the, like a top 2 edge rusher in this draft.
I'm totally in alignment with you when it comes to like edge rusher. Although obviously I think you look at this defense, and as much as I have faith in Amik Robinson, like just contributing to the defense, I never really saw it as like the outside cornerback for sure. I thought I saw him moving into that nickel hybrid spot, and then maybe having a little bit of Burns back there at safety, which Dan Campbell said too. We're going to see him play a lot more safety this year. But I would just I think you look at this defense, and where you want to move up is that position there specifically. But we all know by now Brad Holmes doesn't do it by needs. He does it by BPA, and I'm with you. I think if you look at first defensive players off the board in this year's draft class, you're looking at one of those defensive ends in my mind, whether it's Dallas Turner, whether it's Jared Verse. I think there could be an argument for Latu too. Me personally, I think Dallas Turner probably goes first.
Yeah, for sure.
But almost like at a point where it's like just too rich for.
He's going to go top 10.
Brad, yeah, I see him. I don't think he makes it past 8 at the Falcons right there. I think this makes perfect sense the way I addressed the quarterback this year. They got a few more weapons too. Like I don't think they're grabbing any other offensive pieces unless like one of those like top tier, top 3 receivers like dropped to them. I think he's gone, and I'm with you. I agree. Handshake deal on Jared Verse, and for some reason, if it does happen, I'm strongly convinced. I'm kind of just throwing this out there. This spaghetti against the wall. Pick number 12, just because it's where we've been the past few years.
He likes that pick. It's done well for him.
Which was my favorite number growing up. Fun fact. Well, yeah, I think obviously Jameson Williams right there at 12. It just feels like a sweet spot in the draft where you're like mid-tier. We don't have to give up like too much to move up.
Guys that fell out of the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because there's going to be a quarterback run there too. You got to think about it too. Like, if the Vikings don't move up, if they don't have to move up, I guess, to grab JJ or whoever it may be they're looking to acquire, I mean, there's, again, one of those top 10 guys at all positions outside of quarterback for sure is going to be there right around 12. And whether it's, like you said, Latu and or Verse, I'm here for both of them. I did, as much as I mansplained to my man crush on Latu, I think it was last week or the week before, I did watch some tape over this weekend against Fashanu, I think it was. I don't remember which. It was one of the top end like tackle prospects.
Yeah.
Troy Fatanu.
He got worked. I'm not gonna lie. Latu that is. I mean, like
Verse has the bag. That's what attracts me to Verse so much. On top of his raw athleticism and what he can do, he's got that pass rush bag of different moves, counters, and different things that he can go. So if he gets caught, you know, he's not ready for the physicality or there's a bigger offensive lineman than him, he can spin off and do different things.
That's why I'm with Latu. Like, I think Latu has the deepest bag out of this draft class, but like he doesn't have that oomph to like just bully a guy if he needed to. And Verse has that.
Yeah.
He has that on top of like being able to work, again, the bag he already has on top of what he'll learn from Aiden Hutchinson or Terrell Williams, I guess, more importantly. So I think Verse would be the guy. I don't know if it's a pipe dream. I don't know what the chat's saying. I don't even have that screen up. Is it my pipe dreaming, Nick, thinking that Verse could be a pick for the Detroit Lions?
I mean, it just depends on how greedy we want to get with our future. Because I'm down to throw out next year's first if we want to try to get up to 10. I think my guy would be Dallas Turner specifically. I think he would be a perfect fit with Hayden Hutchinson. Plus, Brad loves his Alabama guys, talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, J-Mo, Brian Branch. He knows the tree, and he's gone to it before. But I think a little bit less scaled back, and maybe Brad Holmes has dialed in a guy. It's got to be an offensive lineman to provide this team the depth for the future moving forward with a guy like Frank Ragnow. We don't know how long he's going to play on this Detroit Lions team with injuries in the past. You think about a Taylor Decker going up to his contract year. You think about a guy in a one-year deal that we brought in that's a Pro Bowler, which I'm happy with Zeitler, but it's not. You don't have that security moving forward that you do with studs on rookie deals. So I'm leaning more Jackson Powers Johnson, maybe giving up like a fourth or like a third to go up top of the 20s. That's where I think he would fall down to. So I would lean more offensive line on this one. I still have a lot of faith in James Houston personally, but if this team wants to remain elite offensively, we have to protect Jared Goff, and we have to be able to run the ball. And I think protecting that offensive line moving forward is the key to doing that.
I could see that too. If offensive lineman is one that they see perceived as like a top tier of the class, and he's right there within reach, and they haven't already made that move to 12 or 15, wherever it may be, to grab one of those guys on the defense side of the ball, that makes perfect sense. I think for anybody within that portion there, because you're really not giving up much. And to the people in the Woodward Sports chat, more specifically my guy Cousin Keys, shout out. Thank you for joining the show.
Shout out.
But he says Easy has no respect for foreplay when it comes to simulating a solid team. Brother, Brad Holmes,
You already have a solid team.
Yeah, I already have a solid team first and foremost. Secondly, Brad Holmes moved up to 12 once before to grab a wide receiver, which I think the argument is you could grab one of those guys. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown was grabbed in the 4th round. Tyreek Hill, 4th round guy. Antonio Brown, 5th round guy. You can grab those guys all across the draft boards. He moved up to 12 to grab Jameson Williams. So for you to portray this as me being impatient or not having like anything like that, this is a move that Brad Holmes already made. Last year, he made multiple moves up in the draft. One to grab Broderick Martin, one to grab a quarterback. One to grab a quarterback and Hendon Hooker. Like, Brad Holmes is aggressive in the draft. It's just how again, if you're going to go all in, if you perceive this team as going all in, which I do, I think there's a window, depending on Ben Johnson's true intentions, like staying or becoming a head coach, then you're going to go in all now. And the best way to do it, in my mind, is through the draft. Although there's a little bit of a roll of dice of like who you're getting as a prospect, Brad Holmes just so happens to be out cold.
Normally works out.
Yeah.
Normally works out when Brad Holmes makes that decision. So, yeah, we've seen him do both in the first round. We've seen him move up and move down in the first round. So I'm not surprised if at anything that Brad Holmes would do. And this, like you said, man, the amount of talent that's going to go up there, you're going to see these edge rushers fall because of the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and the other guys that are going to go ahead of them. Not even mention like a guy like Brock Bowers who's been falling down draft boards. Seeing Brock Bowers get mocked at like 20 is crazy to me. But there is those edge rushers are going to fall right to the range where a team that really wants one can move up and grab him, and we've seen Brad Holmes do it before, so it's definitely not crazy.
And one more, especially when he did do it, was his second year as general manager, a point where you argue more to be like patient and build it the right way. He gave up 3 picks to go to number 12 to grab a wide receiver.
Yeah.
What are you guys talking about? Anakin and Cousin Keys. That's like the time you want to be patient. It's the beginning of the rebuild. No, he did it in the beginning. The second year drafting. This is not anything out of like you guys don't be surprised when it happens.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk like that, I better see you in the chat being pissed off about it when it does happen.
Yeah, and you guys saying there's no point. What the fuck do you mean there's no point? We were 10 minutes away from a Super Bowl last year. That's the point. The entire point is to go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. That's the point, is getting that one player to push you over the edge. Like, we don't need to fill 20 holes on this team anymore, guys. Like, this isn't the team from 2 years ago. You don't need a draft class of 8 guys. That's not a thing for the Lions anymore. We don't need that. We need impact players. We need those couple pieces that'll push you over the edge, not 8 guys that'll fill in and do well. So, yeah, that's the point. The point is getting great players to help you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I think these are wild replies, especially of the guy who already moved up to grab wide receiver beforehand.
Need blue chip guys on this team, specifically that defense. So I do like your guys' idea of going up and getting that D lineman. We do need depth at offensive line in this draft at some point, just moving forward for security reasons. If we don't do that in the first round, I am okay with it. If we do it early in the
Cooper
second
Bebe.
or the third, Bebe for days, I'm down with it. But
If the Lions draft Cooper Bebe, I'm just saying nobody better question my trench knowledge ever again. Ever again. Because I've been preaching him for months.
I think he'd be good regardless of where he goes. I think he'll be valued.
Oh, he's going to be a stud.
I'm a big Cooper Bebe fan. Yeah, I just think these are the guys that I want to acquire if they move up. That's all I'm saying.
Aaron,
Would you be surprised they did it for a corner? One of those cornerbacks?
one of the quarterbacks?
Cornerbacks?
Yes.
Yeah,
That I would be, because the cornerbacks you'll see where you are, they're still pretty good. Like if Kool-Aid falls there, or TJ Tampa, or Renardo Green, guys that'll be in the places you can pick without moving up are still pretty good.
Plus, like at that point, I feel like you're drafting a guy that's not like, again, if you're doing that, you're grabbing a guy that you probably feel could start this year right away. And those cornerbacks, I don't know. As much as again, I like them as prospects.
Yeah.
I don't know if they start on this defense right away, or if you're comfortable
Yeah.
starting them on this defense right away.
And Aaron B says, so you're saying go all in for next season, Spenny? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been saying
My
that.
expectations for the Detroit Lions next year are to win a Super Bowl. If you don't win the Super Bowl, it's a disappointing season.
Yeah.
Flat out. Like the Brad Holmes said it himself. That cute shit is dead. That, it's a nice story shit is dead. That's not the Lions anymore. The Lions are contenders. The Lions are NFC elite. The Lions are Super Bowl contenders. So if you don't win the Super Bowl, it is a disappointing season. That's where you guys wanted to be, right? That's the table you want to sit at. Those are the waters you want to swim in. Well, those are the expectations. If you don't win a Super Bowl, it's a disappointing season, flat out. We got our first playoff win in 30 years. That's awesome. We got our first division championship in how many years? That's awesome. That shit doesn't matter anymore. Now it's just win the Super Bowl or the season was disappointing.
And again, not again, I haven't made this point. Maybe I have in the past, but if you want to go all in, and Jared Goff is a part of that equation, meaning you have to re-sign him here shortly, like coming as soon as next year, then the all-in is surrounding him with rookie deals that you can afford on the team while you're paying him the 49, 50, whatever it may end up being, the cost of Jared Goff to be the quarterback of this team. That is the all-in version of Brad Holmes. I mean, that's how you build a team around a quarterback. You're paying that much damn money. You just surround him around these rookie deals. I think a brilliant way to do it, too, is, again, if you're hitting on the draft picks, obviously, that's a big part of it. But, like, the Texans have built themselves up pretty fucking nice. And they give it to Deshaun Watson not for other players directly, but for draft picks. And I just feel like that's how Brad Holmes feels, too. He doesn't like shelling out these big deals. He's not going to go all in by signing a free agent. He's not going to go on by acquiring L'Jarius Sneed, free agent / guy you're going to sign to a big deal. He's going to go all in by acquiring guys that he believes in and can control on rookie deals, giving a fifth-year option out of the first round and or just a rookie deal in general where you're costing your team less for premium talent there. That's just how I believe his version of all in is.